The stars looked different at the edge of known space. Captain Daewon stood on the bridge of the Resilience, watching the viewport with tired eyes. He had been in command of this exploration vessel for 3 years now, and most days felt the same. Chart a system, take samples, send reports back to Earth. Nothing exciting ever happened out here. Captain, I'm picking up something strange, Dr. Hana called from her station. She was the ship's science officer, a woman who loved mysteries more than anyone Daewon had ever met. Her eyes were wide as she stared at her screens. Daewon walked over to her station. What kind of strange? An energy signature. It's unlike anything in our database. Strong, pulsing, and it's coming from inside the Forbidden Zone. The words made everyone on the bridge go quiet. The Forbidden Zone was not a place anyone talked about casually. For 50,000 years, every species in the galaxy had agreed to stay away from that region of space. Ancient treaties declared that any ship crossing the boundary would be destroyed immediately. No exceptions. No mercy. That's impossible, Lieutenant Tae-young said from the weapons station. He was young, maybe 25, and still believed that rules existed for good reasons. Nothing gets in or out of the zone. The Council has defense satellites everywhere. I know what I'm seeing, Hana insisted. She transferred her data to the main screen. A pulsing wave of energy appeared, originating from deep within the Forbidden Zone. This reading is getting stronger. Whatever is producing it is powerful. Daewon studied the data carefully. Humanity had only been part of the Galactic Council for 30 years. They were the newest members, the youngest species, and most aliens treated them like children who didn't understand how things worked. Earth Command had given him strict orders: follow the rules, don't make trouble, and definitely stay away from the Forbidden Zone. But Daewon had not become a captain by always following orders. How close can we get without crossing the boundary? He asked. Hana worked her controls quickly. We can move within 10,000 kilometers. Close enough for detailed scans. Do it, Daewon ordered. Tae-young, keep weapons ready just in case. Engineer Bora spoke up from her station near the back of the bridge. She was a practical woman who kept the ship running even when systems failed. Captain Earth Command won't like this. Neither will our council liaison. Our council liaison can file a complaint, Daewon replied. We're scientists. That signal might be important. The Resilience changed course, moving toward the edge of the Forbidden Zone. The journey took 6 hours. During that time, Hana ran every scan she could think of. The energy signature kept getting stronger, more defined. She began to see patterns in it, almost like a language. It's trying to communicate, she whispered, more to herself than anyone else. When they finally arrived at the boundary, Daewon felt his stomach tighten. The Forbidden Zone looked like any other region of space, just stars and darkness. But everyone knew the stories. Ships that entered never came back. Defense systems that could destroy entire fleets protected the area. Something terrible had happened there long ago. Something so bad that the entire galaxy agreed to seal it away forever. Beginning detailed scans, Hana announced. Her fingers flew across her controls. Data flooded her screens. She gasped. Captain, I'm detecting debris fields. Thousands of ships, maybe more. All different designs from species I don't recognize. How old? Daewon asked. Ancient. Tens of thousands of years, at least. They're all drifting toward a central point. There's something there, something massive. She looked up at him with wonder in her eyes. It's a space station, Captain. Bigger than anything the Council has ever built. Alarms suddenly blared across the bridge. The ship lurched sideways. Bora grabbed her console to keep from falling. Navigation failure, she shouted. Something is pulling us in. Daewon rushed back to his chair. Tae-young, full reverse thrust. Not responding, sir. The engines are firing, but we're still moving forward. Tae-young's voice was tight with fear. The Resilience crossed the boundary into the Forbidden Zone. Every screen on the bridge went haywire, displaying error messages and corrupted data. The lights flickered. Gravity shifted, making everyone feel lighter for a moment before returning to normal. Cut all power to non-essential systems, Daewon commanded. Bora, what's happening? Some kind of tractor beam, but not like any technology I've seen. It's pulling us toward that station. Bora worked frantically at her controls. I can't break us free. The Resilience flew deeper into the Forbidden Zone. Through the viewport, they could see the graveyard Hana had described. Thousands of dead ships floated in the darkness, hulls torn open, systems long dead. Some were sleek and elegant, others were blocky and utilitarian. Every design imaginable, from civilizations that no longer existed. And at the center of it all, the station waited. It was enormous, easily the size of a small moon. Its surface was smooth and metallic, covered in patterns that seemed to shift when you looked at them directly. Towers and structures jutted out at impossible angles. Lights pulsed along its surface in rhythms that felt almost like breathing. "We're being scanned," Hana said quietly. "Multiple sources. The station is awake." Weapon ports opened along the station's surface. Energy built up, visible as bright blue light. The crew braced for destruction, but the weapons didn't fire. Instead, the tractor beam guided the Resilience toward a docking port. The ship shuddered as it connected with the station. Air hissed as the seals engaged. A corridor extended from the station to their airlock. "We're docked," Bora said in disbelief. "Atmosphere is stable on the other side. It's safe to cross." "This is a trap," Tae-young said. "We should try to break free while we can." "Our warp drive is offline," Bora reported. "The tractor beam did something to it. We're not going anywhere until we repair it." Daewon sat back in his chair, thinking hard. They were trapped in the most forbidden place in the galaxy, docked to a station that shouldn't exist, and no one was coming to help them. The Council would probably destroy them on sight just for being here. "We need parts or technology to fix the ship," he said finally, "and the only place to get them is on that station." He stood up and straightened his uniform. "Hana, Tae-young, Bora, you're with me." "We're going inside. Are you serious?" Tae-young asked. "Do we have a choice?" Daewon walked toward the airlock. "Whatever is in there has been waiting for 50,000 years. We might as well find out what it wants." As they prepared to board the ancient station, none of them knew that their decision would change the galaxy forever. They only knew that going forward was their only option, and humans had never been good at turning back from the unknown. The airlock opened with a hiss that sounded like a breath held for thousands of years finally being released. Daewon stepped through first, weapon drawn, eyes scanning the corridor ahead. The interior of the station was nothing like he expected. The walls were made of a metal that seemed to shift colors as he moved, flowing from silver to gold to deep blue. The corridor stretched ahead impossibly straight, so long that he couldn't see where it ended. Lights embedded in the walls pulsed gently, creating shadows that moved in ways that made his eyes hurt. Hana followed behind him, carrying a data pad and scanning equipment. Her mouth hung open as she looked around. "This is incredible. The materials, the construction. It's beyond anything we've ever seen. This technology is more advanced than the Council's best ships." "Stay alert," Daewon reminded her. "Advanced doesn't mean friendly." Tae-young and Bora came through last, sealing the airlock behind them. The four of them stood in the corridor, alone in a structure that had been sealed away before human civilization even existed. "Which way, Captain?" Bora asked. Before Daewon could answer, the lights in the corridor changed. They began pulsing in a pattern pointing down one direction. A path was being shown to them. "I guess we follow the lights," Daewon said. They walked for what felt like hours, but might have been only minutes. Time felt strange inside the station. Gravity shifted with each step, sometimes too strong, sometimes too weak. The corridor branched off in multiple directions, but the lights always showed them which way to go. Hana stopped suddenly, pressing her hand against her temple. "Does anyone else hear that?" "Hear what?" Tae-young asked, a voice. No, not a voice exactly. More like thoughts that aren't mine. Hana's eyes lost focus. "It's trying to tell me something." Daewon grabbed her shoulder. "Hana, stay with us." Her eyes snapped back to focus. "Sorry, it's this place. It's alive somehow, or at least aware. It knows we're here." They continued forward until the corridor opened into a massive chamber. The ceiling stretched so high above them that it disappeared into darkness. The walls were covered in screens displaying images that changed every few seconds. Hana gasped as she recognized what she was seeing. "These are historical records," she whispered, moving closer to the nearest wall. "Battle scenes, ships fighting, planets burning. These are events from thousands of years ago." "Whose history?" Bora asked. "I don't know. I don't recognize any of these species." Hana touched one of the screens and it expanded, showing more detail. "Wait, this can't be right. These images show the Council elder races, but they look different. Younger. And they're serving someone, taking orders from another species entirely." In the center of the chamber stood a pedestal. As they approached it, a hologram appeared above it, forming into a shape that was almost humanoid but not quite. It had too many joints, too many angles. When it spoke, The words came from everywhere at once, in perfect human language. "Welcome," the hologram said. "I am the curator. I have been waiting for you." Day One raised his weapon. Waiting for humans specifically, or just waiting for anyone stupid enough to enter this place? "For humans," the curator replied. "You are different from the others. Unmarked. Free." "I don't understand," Day One said. The curator gestured and the screens around them changed. They showed a map of the galaxy, but it looked wrong. Different borders, different names. 50,000 years ago, the galaxy was ruled by the predecessors. They were an empire that conquered every species they encountered. They enslaved worlds, altered genetics, created servant races to do their bidding. Images appeared showing the predecessors. They were tall beings covered in crystalline armor, faces hidden behind masks. Armies marched behind them, and Hana felt sick as she recognized some of those soldiers. "The council elder races," she said. "They were servants of the predecessors." "Yes," the curator confirmed. "For 10,000 years, the predecessors ruled with absolute power. They created weapons that could destroy stars. They built engines that could move planets. And when species resisted, they were erased from existence." Tae Young lowered his weapon, staring at the images. "What happened to them?" "Rebellion," the curator said simply. "The servant races grew tired of slavery. They learned to work together, to share knowledge secretly. And when they finally struck, they struck hard. The war lasted for centuries. Billions died. But eventually the predecessors were defeated." "If they were defeated, why don't we know about them?" Bora asked. "Why isn't this in any history database?" "Because the rebels chose to hide the truth," the curator explained. After the war ended, the surviving leaders faced a choice. They had discovered this station, the predecessor's central command. Inside it was the ultimate weapon, a device capable of rewriting reality itself at the quantum level. It could create or destroy matter, alter space and time, enslave minds across the entire galaxy. The hologram showed an image of the weapon. It looked like a sphere covered in impossible geometry, patterns that hurt to look at directly. The rebels knew that if anyone learned about this weapon, wars would start again. Species would fight for control of it. So they made a decision. They sealed the station away. They created the Forbidden Zone and made treaties that would last forever. And then they erased the predecessors from all records. They rewrote history so that no one would know the truth. Daewon felt cold. The entire Galactic Council is built on a lie. "Yes," the curator said. "For 50,000 years they have maintained peace through ignorance. The elder races pass down the secret to their leaders who swear to protect it. But the common people know nothing of what came before." Hana stepped closer to the pedestal. "Why are you telling us this?" "Why did you bring us here?" "Because I was designed to wait for a species like yours," the curator answered. "The rebels who created me knew that secrets cannot last forever. They programmed me to watch for a civilization that arose independently, without genetic tampering by the predecessors. A species that could be trusted with the truth because they had no connection to the old empire." "And that's humans?" Tae Young sounded skeptical. "Yes. You evolved alone on a planet the predecessors never reached. You are unique in this galaxy. Your DNA is pure, unchanged by ancient hands." The curator's hologram shifted to show Earth. "I have monitored your species since you first left your homeworld. I have studied your history, your wars, your art, your science, and I believe you can be trusted with this knowledge." "What do you want us to do with it?" Daewon asked. "That is your choice to make," the curator replied. "I can give you 3 options. First, you can destroy this station and all knowledge within it. The secret remains buried, and the galaxy continues as it has for 50,000 years. Second, you can take the weapon and this knowledge back to Earth. Humanity would become the most powerful species in the galaxy. Third, you can reveal the truth to everyone. Broadcast the historical records to every world, every species. Let the galaxy decide what to do with the truth." Before Daewon could respond, alarms blared throughout the station. Bora checked her portable scanner. "Captain, I'm detecting ships entering the Forbidden Zone, lots of them. It's a council fleet and they're heading straight for us." The curator's hologram flickered. "They have discovered your presence. They will destroy this station to prevent the truth from spreading. You must decide quickly, Captain Daewon. The choice you make in the next few hours will determine the future of the entire galaxy." Daewon looked at his crew. Hana had tears in her eyes, overwhelmed by the weight of what they had learned. Tae Young looked angry, betrayed by the lies they had been told. Bora just looked scared. How long until the fleet arrives? Daewon asked. 3 hours, Bora replied. Then we have 3 hours to make the most important decision humanity has ever faced, Daewon said. He turned back to the curator. Show us everything. If we're going to choose, we need to see all of it. The curator nodded, and the screens around them came to life, displaying 50,000 years of hidden history. Admiral Hyunwoo watched the tactical display from the bridge of Earth's flagship, the Defiant. 6 Council warships blocked the path to the Forbidden Zone, their weapons charged and ready. Behind them, dozens more ships were arriving every minute. The Council was mobilizing its full might to contain whatever was happening inside the zone. They're not letting us through, his tactical officer reported. They're demanding we withdraw immediately. Open a channel to the Council fleet, Hyunwoo ordered. When the connection established, a reptilian face appeared on his screen. The alien's scales were deep blue, eyes cold and ancient. This was Counselor Vektal, one of the Elder Race's highest-ranking officials. Admiral Hyunwoo. Vektal's voice was sharp. Your ship has breached the Forbidden Zone. It will be destroyed. Withdraw your fleet or face the same fate. The Resilience is a science vessel with a crew of 40, Hyunwoo replied calmly. Whatever malfunction took them into the zone was not intentional. Allow us to retrieve our people. That is impossible, Vektal said flatly. No one leaves the zone. These are laws that have stood for 50,000 years. Even for humans, there are no exceptions. Then there will be a problem, Hyunwoo said, because I'm not leaving without my people. Inside the station, Daewon gathered his crew in front of the curator's pedestal. They had spent 2 hours reviewing the historical records, and what they saw had shaken them to their core. The galaxy they thought they knew was a carefully constructed lie. We need to decide, Daewon said. The fleet will be here soon. Tae-young spoke first, his voice hard. We take the weapon. The Council has been lying to everyone for thousands of years. They don't deserve to control the galaxy. With this technology, humanity could protect itself. We could make sure no one ever enslaves us the way the predecessors enslaved everyone else. That's exactly the kind of thinking that led to the predecessors in the first place, Hana argued. One species with ultimate power. It never ends well. The weapon should be destroyed. Some knowledge is too dangerous to exist. And let the Council keep lying. Tae-young shot back. Let them keep treating humanity like children who can't handle the truth. We deserve to know our real history. Bora had been quiet, but now she spoke up. What if we reveal everything? The curator said we could broadcast the truth to everyone. No more secrets. Let every species decide for themselves what it means. That could start wars, Hana said. The Council will fight to suppress the truth. Species will turn against each other. It could tear the galaxy apart. Maybe it needs to be torn apart, Tae-young said. Maybe a galaxy built on lies isn't worth saving. Daewon listened to them argue, feeling the weight of the decision pressing down on him. He had led men and women into danger before, made calls that cost lives, but nothing like this. This decision would affect trillions of beings across thousands of worlds. Curator, he said, interrupting the argument. If we reveal the truth, what happens to the weapon? The weapon will self-destruct along with this station, the curator replied. Its existence cannot be separated from the knowledge. If the truth spreads, the weapon must be destroyed to prevent wars over it. So we can't reveal the truth and keep the weapon, Daewon said. It's one or the other, correct. The rebels who created me understood that the weapon and the secret must die together or survive together. Those are the only stable outcomes. A proximity alarm sounded. Bora checked her scanner. Captain, we have incoming. Something small just breached the station's outer hull. Multiple signatures. It's a strike team. The Council sent soldiers, Daewon realized. They're here to kill us and destroy the station. Tae-young immediately moved toward the corridor. We need to set up defenses. If they reach this chamber, it's over. Wait, Hana grabbed his arm. We can't fight them. There's too many. A new voice echoed through the chamber, speaking through hidden speakers. It was Vektal. Humans, you have minutes to live. My soldiers are moving through the station. Surrender and your deaths will be quick. Resist and they will be slow. Either way, you will not leave this place. Daewon looked at the curator. Can you stop them? This station has defense systems, but I cannot activate them without authorization. I am a keeper of knowledge, not a warrior. The choice to fight must be yours. Of course it must, Daewon muttered. He turned to his crew. Bora, can you get us back to the ship? Maybe, but the warp drive is still damaged. We'd be sitting ducks even if we undocked. Then we make our stand here. Day One drew his weapon. Tae-young, you and I will hold the corridor. Bora, see if you can find a way to lock down sections of the station, slow them down. Hana, you work with the curator. Access as much data as you can. Captain, we still haven't decided what to do with the knowledge, Hana protested. I know, Daewon said. But we're out of time to debate it. If we die here, the choice gets made for us. The council wins and the lie continues, so we stay alive long enough to make the right call. Whatever that is. Footsteps echoed down the corridor. The council strike team was getting close. Daewon and Tae-young took positions on either side of the corridor entrance, using the walls for cover. The soldiers appeared moments later, armed with energy weapons and wearing heavy armor. The first exchange of fire lit up the corridor. Energy bolts scorched the walls, filling the air with the smell of ozone and melted metal. Tae-young hit 2 soldiers before they could take cover. Daewon dropped another with a shot to the chest plate that cracked the armor. But more kept coming. 10 soldiers, then 15, then 20. They advanced in formation, professional and deadly. Daewon and Tae-young fell back into the chamber, still firing. We can't hold them, Tae-young shouted over the sound of weapons fire. Behind them, Hana worked frantically with the curator. There has to be something. Some defense system. Some way to protect this chamber. There is a barrier system, the curator said. But activating it will seal us inside. You will be trapped here with me. Do it, Daewon ordered. A shimmering field of energy appeared across the corridor entrance just as the council soldiers charged forward. 3 of them passed through before it solidified, but the rest were stopped. The ones who made it through raised their weapons, but Tae-young was faster. He shot one and Daewon dropped another. The 3rd soldier tackled Tae-young and they went down fighting. The soldier was bigger, stronger, enhanced by alien genetics. He pinned Tae-young down, raising a blade for a killing strike. Bora slammed a piece of equipment into the soldier's head. He collapsed and Tae-young scrambled free. Thanks, he gasped. Outside the barrier, Vectel's face appeared on the screens. Clever, Captain Daewon. But you have only delayed the inevitable. This barrier will fail eventually. My ships are destroying your admiral's fleet as we speak. You have lost. Daewon looked at the tactical display the curator brought up. It showed space outside the station. The Defiant and Earth's small fleet were indeed under attack, surrounded by council warships. They were outnumbered 10-1. They're sacrificing themselves for us, Hana whispered. Hyunwoo knows we're trapped in here and he's buying us time. Daewon watched as another Earth ship exploded on the screen. Good people dying because he had been too curious, too reckless. The weight of command had never felt heavier. Captain? Tae-young said quietly. He was bleeding from a cut on his forehead, but his eyes were clear. I was wrong. We shouldn't take the weapon. That's just more violence, more death. But we can't let those people die for nothing either. What are you saying? Daewon asked. Tell everyone, Tae-young said. Broadcast the truth. Let the galaxy burn if it has to. At least it will be burning from truth instead of rotting from lies. Daewon looked at each of his crew members. Bora nodded. Hana had tears running down her face, but she nodded too. Curator, Daewon said, his voice steady despite the chaos around them. Show me how to activate the broadcast system. We're going to tell the galaxy everything. The curator's hologram brightened with what might have been excitement. You are certain of this choice? Once the broadcast begins, it cannot be stopped. Every species in the galaxy will receive the transmission simultaneously. The consequences will be immediate and irreversible. I'm certain, Daewon said, watching the barrier flicker as the council soldiers tried to break through. How long will the transmission take? 14 minutes to upload the complete historical database to the quantum network. Another 6 minutes for the network to propagate the signal across the galaxy. 20 minutes total. We don't have 20 minutes, Bora said, pointing at the barrier. Cracks were forming in the energy field. That shield will fail in 10 minutes, maybe less. Daewon turned to Hana. Can you buy us time? How? Hana asked. We're trapped in here. The curator said this station has defense systems. Activate them. All of them. The curator's hologram flickered. Captain, those systems were designed to fight a war 50,000 years ago. They are incredibly destructive. Many of the council soldiers will die. They came here to kill us, Tae-young said bitterly. To bury the truth and go home like nothing happened. I'm done feeling sorry for people who chose to pull the trigger. Daewon looked at the screen showing the space battle. Another Earth ship exploded in silence. Curator, activate defenses. Target council forces only. Try to minimize casualties but keep them away from this chamber for 20 minutes. Acknowledged, the curator said. Throughout the station, ancient weapons came to life. Turrets emerged from walls. Energy barriers trapped council soldiers in sections that began flooding with knockout gas. Automated drones appeared, firing stun weapons. The station itself became a maze of death and confusion for the intruders. On his command ship outside the Forbidden Zone, Vectel watched in horror as his strike team's life signs began disappearing from his tactical display. What is happening? Someone report. Static answered him. Then screaming. Then nothing. The station is fighting back, his tactical officer reported. Our teams are trapped inside. We've lost contact with over half of them. Vectel's claws dug into his command chair. Destroy the station. All ships open fire. I want nothing left but debris. Energy beams and missiles struck the station's shields. The ancient defenses held, but barely. Warning klaxons sounded throughout the structure. Inside the chamber, the curator worked rapidly, uploading data to the quantum network. Progress bars appeared on the screens around them, showing the transfer status. 12% complete. 15%, 20. The station's shields are failing, Bora reported. We're taking hits from their fleet. How long can we hold? Daewon asked. Not long enough. Maybe 10 more minutes before they breach the hull. Daewon activated his communication system. Admiral Hyunwoo, if you can hear me, we need more time. The truth is being transmitted, but we need to hold out for 15 more minutes. Through the static, Hyunwoo's voice came back. Understood, Captain. We'll give you what we can. Outside the station, the Defiant and the remaining Earthships changed their formation. Instead of defending themselves, they moved between the Council fleet and the station, using their own hulls as shields. It was suicide and everyone knew it. All ships concentrate fire on us, Hyunwoo ordered. Make them waste ammunition punching through us instead of the station. Sir, we won't survive this, his tactical officer said. I know, Hyunwoo replied calmly. But those people in there are about to change the galaxy. The least we can do is give them the chance. The Council ships poured fire into the Earth fleet. One by one, humanity's ships died. The Defiant took hit after hit, shields failing, hull breaching, crew dying at their stations. But they held their position, buying precious minutes. Inside the station, the upload continued. 40%, 50%, 60%. It's working, Hana said, tears streaming down her face. The quantum network is receiving the data. On worlds across the galaxy, people stopped what they were doing as holographic displays appeared in the sky above every major city. At first, they thought it was a malfunction or a prank, but then the images began to play, and every being in the galaxy watched the same thing at the same time. They saw the predecessors. They saw the slavery. They saw the elder races serving their masters, committing atrocities in their name. They saw the rebellion, the war, the mountains of dead, and they saw the truth being hidden away, buried under 50,000 years of lies. On the Council homeworld, riots began immediately. Citizens turned on their government demanding answers. How could their leaders have hidden this? How many other lies had they been told? Across the galaxy, the same scene repeated itself. Ships stopped mid-flight as crews watched in shock. Trade networks collapsed as no one moved or spoke. Governments tried to shut down the transmission, but it was unhackable, unstoppable, appearing on every device simultaneously. Vectel watched the broadcast on his own screens and felt his world crumbling. No, he whispered. This cannot be happening. His communication officer looked at him with new eyes that saw him differently now. Sir, we're receiving transmissions from the Council homeworld. The government has collapsed. There are demands for your arrest. Focus on the mission, Vectel roared. Destroy that station. But his fleet was falling apart too. Captains were refusing orders, questioning why they were attacking humans who had only revealed the truth. 3 ships broke formation and retreated. Then 5 more. Then 10. Inside the chamber, the upload reached 90%. The barrier protecting them finally collapsed, and Council soldiers rushed in. But they moved slowly now, uncertain, having seen the same broadcast as everyone else. Tae-young raised his weapon, but the lead soldier held up a hand. Wait, the soldier said. He looked at Daewon with an expression of confusion and anger. Is it true? Everything in the broadcast? Yes, Daewon said simply. The soldier lowered his weapon. So did the others behind him. We were told we were stopping a threat to galactic peace. We were told you had stolen dangerous technology. He looked around at the ancient chamber. We were lied to again. Stand down. Vectel's voice came through their communication systems. That is an order. Execute the humans immediately. The soldier removed his helmet. He was young, probably not much older than Tae-young. No, he said simply. He turned to his squad. We're leaving. Anyone who wants to stay and commit murder can do it without me. The soldiers filed out of the chamber. Taewon watched them go, hardly believing what had just happened. Upload complete, the curator announced. Broadcasting to all systems now. The knowledge is spreading. In 6 minutes, every intelligent being in the galaxy will have access to the complete historical records. What happens to you? Hana asked the curator. I will self-destruct along with this station and the weapon, the curator replied. My purpose is fulfilled. The truth is free. The weapon must be destroyed to prevent future wars. It is the only way. We need to get off this station, Bora said. If it's going to explode, we don't have much time. They ran back through the corridors toward the Resilience. Behind them, they could hear the station beginning to tear itself apart. Systems were shutting down, power cores overloading. The curator was keeping its promise. They reached the Resilience and scrambled aboard. Daewon took the pilot's seat while Bora rushed to engineering. Can we fly? The warp drive is still damaged, but I can give you thrusters and impulse engines, Bora shouted back. It's not pretty, but it'll get us away from the station. The Resilience undocked and accelerated away from the dying station. Behind them, the ancient structure began to glow white-hot. In space, the Council fleet had completely fallen apart. Ships were fleeing in all directions. Some were fighting each other. The unified force that had arrived to kill them was now in chaos. The Defiant floated nearby, heavily damaged but still intact. Hyunwoo's face appeared on their communication screen. He looked exhausted and relieved. Nice work in there, he said. I hope it was worth it. I guess we'll find out, Daewon replied. The station exploded in a flash of light that briefly outshone the nearby star. When the light faded, nothing remained but debris. The Forbidden Zone's greatest secret was gone forever, but the truth it contained now belonged to everyone. 6 months later, Earth looked different from orbit. New orbital stations were being built, larger and more advanced than anything humanity had constructed before. Ships came and went constantly. Not just human vessels, but alien ones too. Some came seeking alliance. Others came out of curiosity. A few came to study the species that had changed everything. Captain Daewon, now Admiral Daewon, stood in his new office looking out at his home planet. The promotion had come quickly, along with responsibilities he never wanted. Earth needed leaders who understood what had happened, who had seen the truth firsthand. Like it or not, he was now one of the faces of humanity's new position in the galaxy. You look tired, Hana said, entering the office with a stack of datapads. She had been promoted too, now serving as Earth's chief ambassador to what remained of the Galactic Council, or rather to the dozens of new alliances and factions that had formed after the Council collapsed. I am tired, Daewon admitted. Did you hear about the fighting on Velkar Prime? Yes. 3 factions claiming to be the legitimate government, all fighting for control. Hana set down the datapads with a sigh. That makes 17 worlds in civil war since the broadcast. Probably not the last either. Do you ever regret it? Daewon asked quietly. Revealing the truth? Sometimes I wonder if we did the right thing. A lot of people have died in the chaos. Hana was quiet for a moment, considering the question seriously. I regret the deaths, but I don't regret the truth. Those societies were built on lies, Daewon. They would have collapsed eventually anyway. We just made it happen faster. That's a cold way to look at it. Maybe, but it's honest. She picked up one of the data pads. Speaking of honesty, you need to read this. It's a message from the Kalak species. They're one of the lost civilizations. The ones we thought were extinct. Turns out they've been hiding for 12,000 years, afraid the predecessors would return. Now they want to rejoin galactic society. How many lost species have we found now? Daewon asked. 32 confirmed, with reports of at least 50 more. Entire civilizations that went into hiding during the predecessor era and never came out. They're all emerging now, no longer afraid. Daewon took the datapad and scanned through the message. The Kalak were offering technology, resources, and knowledge in exchange for protection while they rebuilt their civilization. It was a good deal, and Earth needed allies. Set up a meeting, he said. We'll hear what they have to say. A chime sounded indicating another visitor. Bo-Ra entered wearing a lab coat covered in oil stains. She had refused any military promotion, preferring to stay in engineering where she could work with the technology recovered from the station before it was destroyed. You need to see this, Bo-Ra said, projecting a hologram into the air. It showed a schematic of a ship engine, but the design was unlike anything human engineers had created. We've been analyzing the data from the station, and we found complete blueprints for predecessor technology. Engines that can travel 1,000 light-years in seconds, shields that could withstand a direct hit from a star-going supernova, weapons that could destroy planets. We're not building weapons, Day One said firmly. I know, but the engines, the shields, the medical technology, all of that we can use. We could accelerate our development by centuries. Bo-Ra's eyes shone with excitement. Earth could become one of the most advanced civilizations in the galaxy within a generation. And every species who fears us would have more reason to attack, Hana pointed out. We need to be careful. Humanity is already seen as dangerous. If we suddenly leap ahead technologically, it could trigger a war. We're already in danger, Bo-Ra argued. Half the galaxy wants to ally with us, but the other half wants us dead. The elder races blame us for destroying their power structure. Some of the younger species see us as heroes, but others think we're chaos agents. We need every advantage we can get. Day One listened to them debate, feeling the weight of every decision. The truth they had revealed had made humanity important overnight, but it had also made them a target. Earth needed to be strong enough to defend itself, but not so strong that it became the next predecessors. Build the defensive technology, he decided. Shields, sensors, medical advances. Share some of it with our allies, keep some for ourselves, but no weapons beyond what we already have. We're not going to win the galaxy's trust by building doomsday devices. Bo-Ra nodded, accepting the decision even if she didn't completely agree with it. She left to return to her lab. Alone with Hana again, Day One returned to looking out the window at Earth. Do you think we're ready for this? Humanity was barely a blip in galactic politics 6 months ago. Now everyone is watching us, judging every move we make. No one is ever ready for something like this, Hana replied. But humans have always been good at adapting. We survived ice ages, plagues, world wars, and our own worst impulses. We'll survive this too. A priority alert flashed on Day One's desk console. He opened it and felt his stomach sink. It was a message from Tae-Young's family. They wanted to know when Earth would honor his sacrifice, when they would hold a ceremony for the lieutenant who died buying time for the transmission to complete. Except Tae-Young hadn't died. He was alive, recovering in a medical facility, but his injuries from the fight with the council soldier had been severe, and he would never serve in space again. The family didn't know that yet, and Day One dreaded the conversation where he would have to explain that their son had survived but was broken. Have you visited him? Hana asked, seeing the message. Twice. He doesn't want to talk about what happened. Just stares at the wall most of the time. Day One closed the message. He blames himself for not being stronger, for getting injured. I keep telling him he's a hero, but he doesn't believe it. He saved our lives, Hana said softly. Without him, the council soldiers would have killed us before the upload finished. I know. But knowing something intellectually and feeling it emotionally are different things. He feels like he failed. They were interrupted by another alert, this one marked urgent. Day One opened it and read quickly, his expression hardening. There's been an incident. A human colony ship was attacked by unknown forces. 60 dead, the rest barely escaped. Who did it? Hana asked. We don't know. Could be remnants of the council military. Could be pirates taking advantage of the chaos. Could be a species testing our defenses. Day One pulled up a star map. They hit us in the outer rim, far from any major trade routes. Calculated to cause damage without triggering a major response. What are you going to do? What we have to do. Send ships to protect our colonies. Increase patrols. Show the galaxy that humanity can defend itself. He looked at her seriously. This is what we signed up for when we revealed the truth. The galaxy isn't going to become peaceful overnight. Maybe it never will be. But at least now everyone knows the real history. They can choose what to do with that knowledge. Hana placed a hand on his shoulder. For what it's worth, I think we did the right thing. The galaxy needed to know the truth, even if the truth is ugly. I hope you're right, Day One said, because there's no going back now. Over the next weeks, Day One threw himself into his work. He negotiated with new allies, planned defensive strategies, visited injured crew members, and gave speeches about humanity's role in the new galactic order. Every day brought new challenges, new threats, and new opportunities. But late at night, alone in his quarters, he would sometimes look up at the stars and wonder about the curator. The ancient artificial intelligence had waited 50,000 years for a species like humanity to arrive, and then it had trusted them with the most dangerous knowledge in the galaxy. Had they lived up to that trust? Or had they just traded one set of problems for another? He thought about Vectal, who had been arrested by his own people and was awaiting trial for crimes against the truth. He thought about the hundreds of worlds in turmoil, governments collapsing, societies rebuilding themselves from scratch. He thought about the lost civilizations emerging from hiding and the new alliances forming across the galaxy. Most of all, he thought about the weapon that had been destroyed along with the station. Somewhere in humanity's databases existed the blueprints for a device that could rewrite reality. Every government in the galaxy wanted those blueprints, and Earth had to guard them carefully. The temptation to build it would always be there, especially when humanity faced threats they couldn't handle conventionally. But Dai-Wan had seen what the pursuit of ultimate power did to civilizations. The predecessors had destroyed themselves with it. The Council had corrupted itself trying to hide it. If humanity built that weapon, they would become what they had fought against. A message came through from Admiral Hyunwoo. The Defiant had been repaired and upgraded with some of the new technology. It was ready to return to active duty, and Hyunwoo wanted to know if Daewon had any missions for it. Daewon smiled. 6 months ago, Earth had barely a dozen ships capable of deep space travel. Now they were building a real fleet, not to conquer but to protect. Humanity was learning to be strong without being cruel, powerful without being tyrannical. "We're going to make mistakes," he said to the empty room. "We're going to fail sometimes. People will die because of our choices, but we're going to try. That's all we can do."